have discussed in great detail. It's one you have to be a little careful with, and that's more because the common name ground elder is applied to many different plants. So, but her elder, I believe, is one that bears elderberry uh, berries. Uh, so that's actually different than what we call ground elder in the United States. It's just a small shrubby version of elderberry. Anyway, elderberries are just great, and she also uses elderflower. So definitely see some patterns emerging that are on each person's list, but I mean it's also very individual. And let me tell you, what would be my top 12? Well, I have allergic asthma, so mine's going to be weighted a bit in that direction. I'll start with a couple of long herbs. Assuming I can harvest wild mullein and cherry bark, I would grow elecampane and thyme, and maybe licorice and angelica. Angelica grows wild all over the mountains, so that's another one I forage for. I've never actually had to try to grow it, but yeah, licorice, elecampane, thyme, great long herbs. Mothwong though, not mothwong. Let me think. Cotinopsis, Dang Shin. That one really should be on the list of anyone who has asthma or COPD. Any kind of breathing issues, that I definitely would prioritize. And under herbs for lung issues, I told you all about Dang Shin, Cotinopsis, and why I would consider it essential. It's also known as poor man's ginseng. It has some adaptogenic properties. Um, I think of all the adaptogens, though, Gynostemma is probably my favorite. And while that I don't consider that at all essential, it'd be really good to grow that one too, because it's like astragalus. It's just real easy to grow and much more potent than ginseng in terms of as an adaptogen. And ginseng is really expensive. Uh, Gynostemma tea is cheap and like more effective. So anyway. So, for allergies, I wild harvest ragweed and mimosa blossoms. So, I actually do grow stinging nettles. Yes, I can wild harvest them too, but I consider them to be absolutely essential. And I never seem to find enough in the wild to um, have as both food and medicine because I mean I use them for both. And, I mean, really good. I've told you how to make nettle soups and all that. And actually, Jolanta from Austria, she uses the seeds like in everything muffins, bread. She just anything she can use where she might use poppy seeds or chia seeds. She throws in stinging nettle seeds because they are absolutely probably the most nutritious plant of all. Uh, had a friend, young girl, developed really severe anemia after having a couple of kids, and she was really young. So I mean, it was like a major lifestyle change. It wasn't like she gradually got weaker or no, she got sick, and the of course the doctor prescribed iron, and she said, "Are there any herbs or anything I can do?" And I said, "Yeah. Uh, Let me show you how to harvest nettles. Nettles are so high in iron. Plantain's really good. Yeah, there's several herbs that can really help with anemia, and that's one. So definitely. For colds, a good strong mint would be a good one. Peppermint or spearmint. Um, you got to be careful with watermint and pennyroyal. So yeah, I'd probably stick with peppermint and spearmint. And a member of the wormwood family as an antiviral. So yeah, Sweet Annie would be perfect. But yeah, I use probably more just um, I've done a whole show on the artemisias, and I'm not sure. At mugwort, okay, mugwort's probably my favorite. Okay, yes, I use a lot of wormwood. I like to grow it. I like to use it in bitters formulas. Mugwort is a really weird herb, and I have an affinity for it. People are either going to love it or hate it. I happen to like mugwort. Um, like I said, done a whole show on that. It has some odd effects. Anyway, but for me, it's not only antiviral, but it helps with sleep, which is always nice, and clears congestion from the lungs, and is good for digestion. And yeah. Anyway, so yeah, a member of the wormwood family. I'm just going to put it as that because you can do whatever you want. And From the wild, I get boneset, Joe Pye weed, dandelion. If I couldn't, I would definitely prioritize growing boneset and Joe Pye weed. And like I said, there are some really good cultivated dandelions you can grow in the garden that aren't as bitter, and you're going to enjoy eating them more. So yeah, I would do that too. In fact, I have a whole I grow French dandelions. Yeah, I got a pack of seeds from a company years ago, and they just keep propagating. And so I have a mix of well, what grows naturally in my area. It's not really native. It was brought here by our ancestors. And these wonderful French dandelions with big leaves, and they're delicious. And then for sleep and pain, I would definitely have valerian. Uh, Absolutely, I grow valerian, even though I can find it wild in the woods, because when I need it, I need it. Skullcap, ditto. Skullcap grows all over the place, but when it's needed, it's needed. I mean, there's so many different types of pain, and I got to tell you, I mean, I cut myself on a regular basis as a wood carver. That doesn't really hurt. I mean, I know that's weird. To me, a cut is like nowhere near like the worst kind of pain. I would rank burns as more painful than cuts. Broken bones, and when it first happens, it's like throbbing, but then it's just like a dull ache. Really, probably the most extreme pains that I get are like when I get my back goes out. Real extreme neck or back pain where the muscle spasming, you got a pinched nerve. I mean, that's just like intense, really intense pain. And so, I'm going to go for an antispasmodic, and skullcap is an antispasmodic. Um, it also helps with menstrual cramping, but if I was recommending 12 essential herbs for a woman, I would put cramp bark in there. That they're both very effective, but that I do think that cramp bark. Well, they're both very effective actually, but I think cramp bark may be a little. I'd give it 1 point higher than skullcap for menstrual cramping. But if you can't grow cramp bark, like it's a little too cold where I live. Whereas, let me think. No, it's Viburnum opulus, and I am actually right on the edge of the zone. It actually likes a cooler temperature than I have. It's a little too warm in most of the South to grow it. I can actually grow it. I don't have a need to grow it. I grow skullcap. Were I doing this 12 essential herbs for a woman, I would put viburnum in there and motherwort. It helps with PMS type issues. So, what else? Oh, for injuries, certainly comfrey, arnica, St. John's wort, standard, just like all the other herbalists said, and probably one more. I'm going to add one more essential herb, and for me, that's going to be bugleweed, Ajuga repens. I like it. It is a great bitter. Fantastic. I mean, the old herbalists used to say it powerfully shrinks the liver. I mean, it's really good for digestion and liver issues and all that. It also, as I've mentioned, can help with sleep. It slows the heart rate. It's extremely sedative, actually. And, you don't want to overdo it by any means. But I do have a family member that has an arrhythmia. And bugleweed slows and strengthens the heart rate and regulates the heart rate. So I'm going to throw that one in as one I would grow, but that's one that should absolutely be used with caution. And one more that I would say, like if you have window boxes and potted plants and such, Coleus. Coleus is good. I've done a show about that. There's not, as far as I can find, any research on the effects of Coleus. So I'm still not recommending its use, but I do use it as a sedative and antispasmodic. Some people say it can cause hallucinations. I have not encountered anything like that. But again, I am not recommending Collius because I can't find it in any herbal book. It's literally something that I seem to have discovered. And I seem to have discovered it because someone on, what was it? Oh, yeah, someone had, well, it's in the mint family. And someone said, all mints are edible. Well, that's not quite true, but someone said, well, I ate Collius one time and it knocked me out. And I was like, what? It's that colorful tie-dyed looking plant. It's really odd looking plant. And I thought, well, my neck was out. I was having that bad neck pain. And I thought, I'm just going to give this a try. I mean, it's in the mint family. It's probably safe. I'm kind of stupid that way. I take risks with my own health that I don't recommend you do. And I pulled off a couple of these and ate them. And I was like, wow, okay. I mean, like 30 minutes later, I'm like, wow, my neck pain is reduced by like half. This is fantastic. And then I got a little sleepy. Well, unfortunately, herbs that have that effect on you tend to build up a tolerance very fast. And Collius basically does nothing for me anymore. But so that's one I'm just kind of throwing in there as a wild card. And that's also a reason it's good to grow the valerian and the skullcap and have maybe some lemon balm, a fresh lemon balm tincture on hand. Chamomile even can have a very mild sedative effect, so that you don't build up a tolerance by relying on one herb. Ashwagandha would be one I would. I mean, it lowers blood pressure. It can help with sleep. It has some antispasmodic properties. It's an adaptogen. It actually increases testosterone in men, and it's not too hard to grow. But for me, my climate's way too cold. I have to bring it inside. So, as you can see, it totally depends on the individual. For instance, for someone who has an inflammatory condition of the bladder or intestines, Canada fleabane, origeron, yarrow, dandelion, chamomile, mallow, marshmallow, any of the mallow families, goldenrod. Goldenrod's really good, but of course you can find that wild everywhere. But yeah, it's that would, again, if I was saying for women or for, definitely throw in something for UTI infections. Uh, a woman of childbearing years may wish to grow some specific herbs. I mean, like Jolanta said about raspberry and blackberry leaf. One who's menopausal or postmenopausal would need an entirely different set of herbs. If you have kids, you're going to want to have herbs for kids for the upset stomachs and the fevers and bee stings. Definitely some plantain for bee stings, and you tailor it to your taste, but to your needs, I guess I should say. Garlic for earaches. Kids get earaches and all that. Yeah, garlic. Or onion, the juice of it, just put in the ear. Really, really works. So, I mean, yeah. Write down a list of your specific needs. And then go through my book. Either this one, Growing Your Survival Herb Garden, or Herbal Medicine for Preppers, or both, preferably. Or dig back through the archives of all the shows that we've done here. And make a list of maybe a dozen essential herbs for your specific or your family specific needs. Make sure, cross-reference with my book, make sure they'll grow in your area and learn how to grow them. I mean, I tell you how to grow every single one of these herbs, what zone they like, what soil conditions, and all that. If you don't have my books, I'm still running the special. I decided to extend it through January 1. Anyone who becomes a paid subscriber to my Substack newsletter, which is only $8 a month. It's Judson Carroll Master Herbalist. That's the site. JudsonCarroll.com is actually the URL. JudsonCarroll.com. And the Substack newsletter is called Judson Carroll Master Herbalist. Super easy to find, obviously. I'm sending everybody 2 free ebooks. So if you want these 2 books, Growing Your Survival Herb Garden, Herbal Medicine for Preppers, I'll send you $20 worth of ebooks for an $8 subscription. Just something I want to do for Christmas. things are tight for people, and it's a good last minute gift that's not going to cost you a lot, but you can absolutely have it for yourself too.